Starting to feel very MySpace the way I'm filming this. This is Now You're an Animal by Mark Doty. I'd expected to sit for my portrait in the photographer's studio. Chilly morning, fierce April wind on 6th, slicing through my jacket and sweater. New blur of the trees overhead. But at the loft, a huge roll of white paper hung from the ceiling, blocking a wall of windows. He handed me a bucket of black paint and brushes and said, "Now, how would you like to represent yourself?" I wasn't ready for that. It wasn't noon. I'd hurried across the city and didn't feel awake to the task of metaphor. Then we were talking, easy, about what others had done. He photographed painters, actors, whoever he liked in the arts, and how dancers often leapt before the white field he'd offered them. And I said, "I've always wanted antlers," and began to paint high on the big page black reindeer horns. In thick strokes, the paint dripping nicely, and when finished I could stand beneath them and the serious branching architecture seemed to spring from my head. He stood up at the other end of the room, framing the upside down in his lens. He said, "That's wonderful. What do you want to wear?" I didn't know. He said, "Take off your shirt," and I did, and he said, "Now you're an animal." I ripped open the buttons of my jeans so as to be a lustful beast, and he cried, "Yes, that's it." And though it was a joke, still I was seized by a sort of heat. I took deep breaths, tilted my head up, stood in the center of my own authority while he lifted sheets of film and pushed others in again, and clicked the lens. He said, "That's good, what else?" "I don't know how else to do it unless you're naked." And I said, "I'm okay with that." And without even my watch or ring, only the arching crown tangling high in the air above me, I felt the up-pushing pulse of some originating flame. I thought, this is the relation between narrative and lyric. 1 minute you're on 23rd Street trying to find an address, and the next you're naked under a wet crown of horns. That's how fast we slip into the underlife. Later, out in the daylight, I thought, what if my students see this picture? Or the dean of liberal arts? But only after I'd walked back out into the elevator in the lobby, onto the sidewalk, with an odd warmth banked inside me. Creaturely, the undertime, beneath the new haze of trees overhead. Bud time, the sharp spring wind, equal parts ice and green. What is lyric? I wanted the animal seen that I might know him. Even waiting at the blustery intersections, I was warmed by the incipient leaves, and I held the antlers high in the wind, their heart radiating down into my face. And on the street a few men knew what I wished, that my plainclothes hid hooves and haunches.